Welcome to Time Between Times storytelling with me, Owen Staton. Please excuse my voice, which is even gruffer than usual today. I am full of cold, but not COVID. The test tells me so, thankfully. I hope you are all well. Thank you very, very much for all the kind words about the Ko-fi special video I put out last week. If you wish to join us at the fireside, please go to Ko-fi and you will get an extra video every month from myself to you around the fire pit. I hope you are all well. Look, the times are dark. The days go ever shorter. But us, we gather at the time between times, where friends are all around us. We sit, we tell tales. We forget about all our cares and all our worries. So join me once again here at the time between times. Sit back, relax, let yourself go. Let all your cares and worries leave. Take that path through the forest. The trees stretch to the sky until you come to that clearing where the fire burns. And there take your place amongst friends. It is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The veil between our world and the fairy world is wafer, wafer thin. But here we are. You can feel the chill in the air, but you know that this is a place of warmth. This is a place of friendship. This is a place where nothing bad happens. This is the time between times. Let me take you today to the north of Wales. It's a sequel of sorts. Way back when I first started telling these tales online, I told you the famous tale of Beddgelert, the faithful hound of Prince Llewellyn, slain, spoiler alert, by Prince Llewellyn's old hand. But there is more to that tale, or so they say, and a lot of it comes from the Goat Hotel in Beddgelert, and the owner, a man called David Pritchard. Beddgelert is a bleak but beautiful place in the mountains. Snowdonia Eryri is all around it. The sky is full of hawks and eagles. The water is crystal clear. But few were the travellers who came that way. And it is said that in the 1800s, David Pritchard made up the legend of Beddgelert, put a stone where he said the dog was buried, in order to bring in many tourists to visit his inn, the Goat Hotel. Whether this tale is true matters not, but what happened next does matter. The fame of the tale of Beddgelert stretched across the world. Many people sat and told this tale in tears, and many people passed it on. Travellers started to multiply, and many people travelled the winding roads to Beddgelert to look at the grave of the great hound. Stopping at the Goat Hotel, David Pritchard became a rich man. His rooms were full. The bar in the Goat Hotel was full of customers. The food was going out the doors. He became one of the richest men in North Wales. Every night his servants noted he would scratch what was left of his fireplace away before going to bed, making sure the hearth was clean for the next day. He would only do this when he was alone. And one night, this was his last task. For the next day, his servant Hugh came down to the bar room and found his master dead in his favourite chair next to the fireplace. There was a cold, damp, loathsome air around the hotel. David Pritchard, as white as a sheet, sitting in a chair. His family was summoned, and he was buried nearby in the churchyard. All the villagers gathered, for this was one of the great men of the area. Visitors from afar carried on coming, but strange tales started to be known around the hotel and the village. A shopkeeper said that he saw Mr. Pritchard walking on the winding path to the hound's grave. He called out, but But Pritchard carried on walking. Another said he saw him down by the river, his hands in the crystal stream, but the water did not break. Terrified, the villagers gathered together, knowing not what to do. Those who stayed in the hotel every night at the time between times. They could hear the hearth of the fire being scraped. Doors would open, doors would close. Creaking footsteps were heard on the stairs of the hotel. Many people thought that David Pritchard had something to say to them from beyond the grave. The servant Hugh thought about this for a long time, knowing not what to do, but then decided that after dark he alone would venture through the winding paths of the village to try and encounter the spectre. And this he did. Night after night, from dusk till dawn, he would make his meandering way down the footpath to the hound's grave in the hope of spying his master walking that way. Nothing. Night after night he sat in the chair where Pritchard had died by the fireplace, waiting to see if his master would appear. Nothing. Night after night he crossed over the bridge and looked down to the river, hoping to see David Pritchard. Nothing at all. But then one night, the last night, he bade that he would take this task. A calf nearby, belonging to the hotel, was being born. Hugh went there helping the calf into the world. Just at the moment the calf was born, he felt an icy touch on his shoulder. He looked down, and there was a hand, as white as snow and as cold as ice. He spun around, and there, standing before him, was his old master, David Pritchard of the Goat Inn. Pritchard looked into Hugh's very soul, and then spoke in a voice as deep as the oceans. "My old faithful servant, come with me. I have something to show you." The spirit turned around and walked through the village. Every step that it took, the lights would go out around. Fires would burn away. It's like the moon would go behind a cloud. Hugh followed, his heart beating in his chest, so hard it felt like it would burst out, until they came to the churchyard. The church was silhouetted against the moon. There was frost on the ground, but they stepped inside the yard itself, through the old graves until they came to Pritchard's grave itself, and there the spirit stopped. Hugh looked at him. Through the body of the spirit, he could see the writing on the grave. David Pritchard turned to him and spoke. "Go to the hearth in the bar of the hotel. There, under the flagstone next to the chair, scrape away at the remains of the fire, and underneath you will find 100 gold coins. Take 2 for yourself, no more, no less, and give the rest to the people of the village. Beddgelert has brought a lot to this village. Now we will give them something back. Go, my old friend. The 2 gold coins will make sure you never have to work again. Go." And then he vanished. Hugh made his way back to the hotel, opened the oaken door with a creak, stepped inside. And there in the bar he scrabbled amongst the remains of the fire, and just as the spirit had said, there was a loose stone. He opened it up, and underneath there was a small cloth bag. 100 gold coins clinked inside, and the old servant pulled out 2, placed them in his pocket. The next day he went to the church, and stood on the grave of David Pritchard. As everyone came to worship, he gave each member of the congregation and the town a gold coin. It was the happiest day that Beddgelert had known in a long time. And the ghost of David Pritchard was never seen again, although those who stay in the Goat Hotel often hear the footsteps creaking on the stairs, the brushing of the hearth, and of whistling downstairs in the bar. Is the owner still there? I know not, but I would certainly like to take a drink in front of that fireplace at the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. His grave is quiet in the churchyard. There is wealth and plenty among the villagers, and the old servant Hugh never had to work another day in his life. The path leading to the grave of Gelert is very busy with visitors these days, and it is all down to that innkeeper David Pritchard and his tale from long, long ago. Thank you, my friends, for joining me once more. Every week I release a video here for you to listen to. I also have a podcast called Time Between Times Storytelling. The numbers who are listening to the podcast are great. Please check it out if you haven't already. All around the world, these tales of Wales are beaming out there, and I am forever grateful for all the support. Please leave a message if you like the video. Please tell me of any further tales you would like to hear, for sometimes it feels very lonely sitting here talking to myself. Also, as I said earlier, I have a Ko-fi page, Ko-fi, www.kofi.com/Owen Staton. If you wish to buy me a coffee, it would be much appreciated in this cold, cold day. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you ever so much for listening. See you next week. Look out for the podcast as well. No star. Take care.